Here we go. Let me start over. I guess I misclicked. I thought I unclicked mute. There we go. Alright, so we're going to hit it up. We're going to do session 42 of the solo RPG. I'm going to do a quick recap of what happened in the last session, and then I think I'm going to do just a slightly broader context, just because we've been in this dungeon for a while, so anybody who's new to picking up on the solo RPG sessions wants a little broader context as to what's kind of going on and why we're actually in this dungeon now that we've been in here for I don't know how many sessions we've been in here. Maybe 5, maybe 6. This might be the 6th session we've been in here. It's been a while. This was supposed to be a 3-session dungeon. I thought for sure I'd get through like 13 rooms in 3 sessions by myself, but we've gone through a lot of backtracking and gotten ourselves into a lot of scrapes that primarily due to the backtracking. So we still have a number of rooms to explore if we decide to explore them all, but we are running surprisingly thin on resources, most notably our hit dice. So unless we find another terrible place to rest, like the mausoleum with the psychic vampire in it, we might have to leave the dungeon. We might have to call this good enough. But we gotta figure out what's going on right now, and we're in a really cool spot because we're about to jump in and try to uncover some clues, unravel some plots. We're gonna figure out sort of like what's going on, like why is this foreign faction here? Why are they doing this confederation of gnolls and goblins and orcs? Like, what's that all about? Why are they the foreign backing for it? And why are they looking for Leah? That's the one thing we found out from last session is why are they looking for Leah? Because we know that they're targeting her specifically. So let's jump in and talk specifically about what happened last time. So last time we kicked it off. Well, we kicked it off with a combat. In the session before, we had Leah. She was climbing up a ladder from the mausoleum. She opened a trap door. There's this sort of scriptorium room that seemed to have a lot of records and things of that nature. And she popped open the door and found that there were a whole bunch of gnolls that were already in there, who were already sort of looting the place. We had a very sort of protracted combat that did not go very well for us. Everybody was heavily injured in that fight, and it ended up being sort of like a Pyrrhic victory. We got in there, there was basically no loot in there, and it was a dead end. So they had been looting that place the entire time. We had been sort of in the mausoleum and had another fight underneath it, we think, unless they came in behind us at some point. Because we looted the rooms and the bodies, we came up with like an amphora worth barely anything, a hand drum, and a few pockets of silver coins. Like, it was... We spent more HP than we got coins worth of stuff out of it, pretty much. It was not really, it was not a good time, and it did not give us a whole bunch of very good rewards for it. So then we had to do a little bit of backtracking. We went down to the mausoleum, we went back up to the hall outside the Underfountain, and we followed that other path that we had, which is, we're getting towards the end of that sort of hand-drawn map that we pulled off one of the gnoll leaders. And to what they kind of had is known as sort of like a command room, kind of, maybe. And so we were able to sort of move back to that command room, which appears to have been set up in, and actually I need to make that note here on my little hand-drawn map. So this command center is actually an operating theater. Like a medical one, like if you've ever watched a show that talks about like old school surgeries and medicals and things like that, like Victorian style. It's sort of like this weird theater, like a literal theater that has like people performing surgery and sort of like what is almost like an orchestra pit at the center. So it was in there. We backtracked to that room. Ott, who was trying to scout, got spotted by their actual scout, who was speaking in a foreign language. That's the one thing that we've come across so far, is that they speak a foreign language that none of us know how to talk. And that has been problematic, because we can't understand them, we can't really communicate with them, and without using a spell, we can't read any of their writing. So that's been kind of difficult. Leah tried to intercede, because this person started barking at Ott, which is funny, because Ott's a gnoll. Barking in a foreign language at Ott, and she was like, I don't know what this person's saying. and they're being kind of aggressive, so she's like going kind of for a weapon. So Leah kind of jumped in and tried to like do an intercede and tried to like placate and like try to do a little diplomacy, but did not roll well enough, sort of in reaction initiative, whatever you want to call that, and Ott ended up sort of just pulling out her bow and taking a shot into the scout. There was another hard combat. We killed 7 people, and we've got 1 tribal warrior, so 1 warrior and 1 noble surrender who's sort of in charge, we think. So 2 kind of surrendered there at the end, and so now we're sort of in that time. Leah's got a comprehend languages spell. She's got about an hour. She wants to rip through all the documents quickly that are on the table. We need to interrogate that noble and warrior, and I'm going to give us disadvantage on those charisma checks because of the language barrier. Because comprehend languages allows us to understand, but doesn't allow us to speak. That's tongues. That's a different spell. It's a higher level spell. So we can understand what they say and we can read their writing, but we can't write it in that language, and we can't speak that language. So it becomes very difficult. We're gonna have to do a lot of sort of like lingua franca, trade lingo, patois, kind of figure out how to talk to each other using a number of different languages, trying to communicate as best we can. So that's what Leah's going to be focused on. Imbar and Del did roll the bodies, and I did go ahead and roll for those in between session, and we ended up rolling all right. We got some licorice, so that's nice. 10 gold. We got a little bit of tobacco, which let's go ahead and do our first roll of the night. Why not? I'm gonna go ahead and swap us over so you guys can look at what I'm looking at. Here we go. So our first thing, I want to know are Delg and Imbar smoking that tobacco real quick. I think it's likely. They seem to me like the sort of people who enjoy a little smoke. No, okay, they didn't. They never touch the stuff. Good to know. Or there's something wrong with it. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's not smoky tobacco. It may be like chewing tobacco or something like that. Maybe it's something that they don't want. And then we also did pick up 2 magic items. We got a Cloak of Billowing, which is the common magic item that just lets you do the flourish billow of a cloak. Is sort of like a free. I think it's a free, maybe a bonus action. It's a bonus action to basically just like make your cloak flow, which is very fun. But you know, functionally mechanically not a very impressive thing unless you're maybe trying to use it for some sort of charisma check. Maybe I'd give us advantage with that if we had the Cloak of Billowing. But the big thing we picked up was the Fernian Ash Staff, which is, I'm just gonna pull this up here because I know it's in here. So let's take a look at it. Oop. Imbued wood. There we go. So imbued wood, Fernian Ash. So it's a wondrous item. It's a rod, staff, or wand. I decided to go ahead and I rolled for it, and it just ended up being a staff. Cut from a tree infused with extraplanar energy. If you're a spellcaster, you can use this item as a spellcasting focus. So this could be a spellcasting focus for Leah. When you cast a damage-dealing spell using this item as your spellcasting focus, you gain a +1 bonus to fire damage. +1 bonus to 1 fire damage roll of the spell. Okay, that's a weird way to word it. You get a +1 to fire damage with those spells. So yeah, I mean, that's nice. We do have somebody who uses Firebolt a lot. So, and there's a number of these. There's like an acid one. I think there's a poison one. I think there's a cold one. There's a number of different ones. We just ended up getting the ash, the imbued wood. That's the Fernian Ash. So for fire. So that's useful, and I think we can just go ahead and we're gonna add that to Leah's character sheet because she has a staff, but it's just a basic staff. So we're going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and add this Fernian Ash. And so that's actually going to give her... So that's going to give her... Am I actually getting her +1 to the spells? Oh, probably because I already put the staff down here. I've already made that adjustment. Thanks looking out, old me. Past me's looking out for me. I already made that adjustment. Cool. We also do have quite a bit of money. We have about 650 gold, so Sorry, that's a little bit low. You guys can't see that. There we go. We have about 650 gold, so not including just random treasure. That's just bulk money that we have. We'll have to see if we can maybe get it out here. Yeah, we'll love a good fireball. Unfortunately, we've used our fireball scroll, and we don't have access to fireball yet, which sucks. But next level is 5, and certainly once we get out of this dungeon, we should be leveling up. We have done suitably enough to to warrant a level up, almost 2, I think, almost at this point because of how much we've gone through. But I'm going to keep it to 1. I'm not going to double level us. But that is sort of where we are. We've got the licorice, the gold, the tobacco, and so that's sort of where we're going to pick up. We're going to pick up right here with searching the room. So I think Leah is concerned first and foremost with the documents, because I know that's the one thing that she can read intently. She has the comprehend languages up. She's able to read the documents, so she doesn't have to worry about, unlike sort of interrogating the 2 prisoners that they have, she doesn't have to worry about the documents like lying to her and having to sort of like parse the truth from the false. I think that she knows that she has documents of this sort that are like in the command center, probably unlikely to have a lot of lies in it. Maybe it might have some code. We'll have to check to see if there's code. And unfortunately, we do not have our code master with us. That's Omer. He's back at Akari's estate. So we do have some smart cookies with us though. Well, I guess technically we just have Leah. Leah's the smart cookie, and the other one person's a linguist, so they're actually a lot better at that than we are. So let's jump in and let's go ahead and try to figure out what's going on. So we're going to snoop through the documents, through the, let's say foreign factions documents. So we're going to snoop through those documents. I'm going to give us I think it's going to be like just a little mini skill challenge, and I think I'll see if there's some other stuff that you can do, but I'm going to start off with a sort of like an investigation check. Let's go. Investigation check. What is the DC? What is the DC for the operating theater? Let's pull that up real quick. That'll give us a good idea. This is room number 3, actually. It's the vivisection dissection room. The DC is 16. Okay, so that's a little dicey. It's not the easiest DC in the world. And I don't think nobody's helping her, because Ott's looking over the prisoners. This is going to be in the same time that Delg and Imbar are rolling the bodies, so she's just kind of down. She's sifting through all these documents that are on this sort of like large table that they've moved into the middle of this operating theater. So I think we're going to start off, let's take a look at their skills, but I'm pretty sure we're going to start off probably with this just a basic investigation check. I think that's probably the best place for us to start. Yeah, so let's start with an investigation check. Alright, so we've got a +5 to that, so we only need to roll an 11. Unfortunately, we don't have Bless. That's something we probably want to pick up at some point, as well as maybe Fireball in the future. But we desperately need some combat spells. We do not have a ton of those. That's something we'll be spending probably quite a bit of that gold on. Yeah, alright. So we just need to roll an 11 for a successful investigation check. We don't roll an 11, of course, so we fail that. Alright, so how long I don't want this to take too long, because she's pressed for time, because she only has the hour with comprehend languages, and we don't want to really blow another slot on that, or maybe sit around and take the time to ritual cast it either. So we might do that if we need to, but for right now, I prefer we don't, because if we stay here longer, we're gonna have to roll for more random encounters, and we're getting to the point where we can't really take on a lot more encounters without taking an extended rest, because the problem is that we don't have any hit dice to heal. So let's say that was our last session. Let's go here. All right, so investigation failed. All right, so why is maybe that investigation failed? Let me ask: is there some sort of arcane, something that's sort of messing with her, that's keeping her from being able to investigate it? Let's ask that. No. Okay, so it's not that. Is it? My only other question is there like a code or a cipher or something that's making it difficult to read? Yes. Okay, so that's a yes. Do I want to do an interrupted scene? I don't want to start off quite with an interrupted scene, so I'm going to ignore the 11 result. But the answer is yes. Okay, so there is some sort of. There does seem to be some sort of code or something like that. All right, so coded, or it's like a cipher. So here's the question: we could go ask one of these guys to see if they know where the code book is, the cipher book is, the key. Would be better knowledge about spells, but whatever. Think about it. How could you use Fireball and comprises it to make more destructive and powerful versions? Oh, that'd be a very interesting thing. Like to do a research, it'd be like, how can I take Fireball and sort of like expand it to make it better, besides just sort of like upcasting it? That's an interesting thought. Yeah, I think if we do move into a more academic setting where she can have some downtime to do that, that's a cool idea. I like that she would jump in and do that. So we could jump in. We could try to talk to one of these guys and say, yeah, I like that. Let's make this maybe like a 5. Let's make this like a 3 before 2. So it's 3 successes before 2 failures. So we already know sort of what the DC is. I think we have advantage on our. Well, we're going to cancel out the disadvantage because we have them we have leverage over them, obviously. So it's going to be a straight roll. She's not very good at this. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I mean we can make the charisma check. She has a +2 to it, just naturally. Let's see. All right, we gotta get a 14 or better. So it's unlikely. All right, that's another failure. We are not doing good. So we're wasting a bunch of time. All right, so we have an investigation failed. We have a sort of, let's just say, persuasion. Prisoner's not talking. All right, so they don't give us a lot of useful information. We could try to press them. I think if we get involved with the threat of violence, I think that would be enough to take us from where advantage and disadvantage sort of narrow out to maybe give her the extra advantage for an intimidation check, because it doesn't matter which charisma skill she's using because she's not trained in any of them. It's not really her bag. So I think that's what we're going to do. I think she's going to try to do an intimidate, and I think not just kind of just kind of roughs them up a little bit. I think she just kind of punches the noble and makes some vague, gnollish barking threats. And, kind of slavering jaws all over the place. So, I'm going to give her an intimidation check with advantage. So, let's see. Alright. We have comprehend languages up so she can understand what they're saying. So, I think that Ott reaches down with her big meaty sort of like paw and just kind of punches the noble slugs the noble across the face. Who's bound up. And Leah's kind of looking forward to be like, tell us where the code is for the cipher to unlock this these messages. Tell us why you're here. Why are you looking for me? And I think the guy's like, I'd rather die. I'll never betray the cause. All right, we got us a little bit of a fanatic here. Okay, didn't want to die, so weird. Surrendered, so we know that they have some value of their own life, or have either value of their own life or some purpose yet unfulfilled. Or no, I guess that's it. Because clearly, if they were worried about their life, they would have given up the information probably faster. You want to make a Star Wars reference? Yeah. So yeah, looking at that. Gosh. All right, so that's 3 fails. We beefed this real bad. Sorry, it was supposed to be 5 successes before 3 failures. I know what I'm doing. Before 3 failures. Well, we sped run that failure of a skill challenge. Intimidation. Noble prefers death. Now, we do have some people in our party who are maybe a little bit more skilled in extracting information in a more hostile way. We do have some people who probably Imbar, probably Ott, who are not very particularly opposed to torture. I don't think Leah's interested in doing that, and I don't think Delg as a healer, and I don't think in this world there's necessarily like a Hippocratic oath, but I think it's very much as a healer is like, yeah, I'm not gonna help you torture this person. You're the chosen one. You should have destroyed evil, not joined it. So yeah, that's sort of the situation. So we're kind of at a dead end here. So we've looted bodies. People have loot. Everybody's kind of like sticking their heads together, team huddle style. I'm like, all right, we're not getting anywhere with these guys. We got some loot here. We've got the documents. We could take the documents and maybe translate them later, or maybe give them a look later when we have more time. To crack it, we can always take it back to Akari's estate. I don't know, but none of that's going to help us here. So, here's a question. I'm just going to ask the Oracle, and I think it's extremely unlikely because we ran through our failures as fast as possible. Is comprehend languages coming to an end? Extremely unlikely. No, not even close. We're maybe like 10 or 15 minutes into the comprehend languages. So we're like, okay, so I could stay here and we could try to work a little bit more on it. If we do that, we're going to definitely have to roll for a random encounter. Is that worth it to us? I think so. I think we really need to understand how Leah's involved. So I think Leah's going to pull out her spell book, open it up, and I think she's going to lay out all the documents, and she's going to lay the spell book down on top of it, face up, and she's going to like take her hands and put it on the corners of the spell book and close her eyes and really sort of focus into it, and she's going to try to tap into Harrell, and they're going to try to do like a little arcane mind meld. Of course, Harrell is the person who is their old sort of arcane librarian who is soul's been shunted into this book, and is, you know, tries to help us when they can, but it's kind of hard to communicate with a living book. And the book just kind of gives stream of consciousness. But we do know that Hero was sending ciphers and coded messages, so he has a background here, and he might give us the extra little boost we need to help to kind of do this. So we're gonna give ourselves one more check, and then while we're doing that, we're going to have to roll for this. What is everybody else doing? Is anybody else going to... Let me just ask it this way. Does anybody take it upon themselves to, let's say, soften up our hostages, our prisoners? No. Okay, so everybody's kind of like, all right, what are we going to do with these guys? I think maybe they're having a quiet discussion in their own tongues about, like, all right, well, what are we going to do with these guys? Are we going to take them with us? We don't really have a reason to take them with us. Do we kill them? Do we let them go? I think they're trying to figure that out while Leah's working on this. So let's roll our d12. If we roll a 1, there's an encounter. Okay, we're rolling very low this session so far, but not quite that low. So that's good for us. Alright, so we've got one more. We're putting all the chips on it on this one gamble, on this one roll of the die. I'm going to give us an advantage with Harrow. We're going to do... I guess it's just a... I'm trying to remember that. I was thinking that there was like a code thing in 5e, but I can't think of what it is off the top of my head. And I know Leah's not trained in it, whatever it is. Other than the linguist feat. I thought there was something else. No, I guess not. So I think this is going to be just a straight intelligence check, because she doesn't really have anything else. I mean, I guess investigation counts. I guess. Yeah, I'll give it to her. Alright, so she's got a +5 to the roll, and then I'm going to give her... Actually, I'm going to make this an Arcana roll. That literally does not change anything about it. It's the same plus to the roll. But I think that makes more sense, because she's trying to focus her intent through the book, through Harold, as help. And that's the thing that's giving her the... Harold's giving her the help action, which is going to give her advantage with the comprehend languages. Alright, so this is our last gas. It's our one chance. Our one chance. Okay, so the 8 certainly doesn't work, but 13 plus 5, which is an 18, does work. So we're going to get some sort of information. I don't think we don't get the floodgates don't open. We don't get all that information. We're going to get a little bit of information, just because we're doing it in such a brief time period, so truncated time. Okay, so we're going to get a little bit of information. So I'm just going to put in here. Focuses through Harold's soul in the spellbook to try and break some of the cipher code. We don't know which one it is. Functionally, it doesn't really matter for us whether it's a cipher or a code. That's more of a semantic difference as far as we're concerned for D&D most of the time. So, yeah, we're going to break it through. Okay, what sort of information are we going to get out of that? So, well, let's ask an oracle question first, before we start just doing sort of like random rules. Again, I have I'm using the solo dark sort of prompt, solo crawl prompts just to kind of check them out. They've been pretty good so far. I've been enjoying them, so I'll jump into those in just a second, but I do just kind of want to ask maybe a basic oracle question. Is anything that we learn specific about the plot as to, do we get an answer of maybe the why they're looking for Leah? Why they're trying to get their hands on Leah? No. Okay, we don't get any information about that. So we're going to get information about something else, I guess. So we're going to get that. So it's... no clues about why they want Leah. So we don't have any information on that. That's unfortunate and quite frustrating. I guess I should just ask before I jump in. Is it related to one of our ongoing plots? No. Okay. Alright. So this is pretty much new information for us. So we got 2 D100s. Alright, 14. Assemble. 62. What we're looking at, we are going to assemble pain. Assemble pain. Assemble pain. Interesting. What kind of jumps to the mind with assemble pain? Is this politically motivated? I don't think so. I think we've made it. It seems everything up to this point has not seemed very particularly politically motivated. But let's just add: is this politically motivated? I think that's extremely unlikely. So like a -5. All right, but it is. So it is politically motivated. All right, so it does seem politically motivated. So there's some sort of political motivations for their actions. So we think that that's right, assemble pain. So they're trying to make something painful for part of the politics. I think that they're trying to shape some sort of, not necessarily policy, but maybe something. They're trying to do some cloak and dagger sort of like shadow intrigue kind of spycraft kind of stuff and things. They're trying to make things. Ooh. Remember what I was saying about having more chances to become a lich? I believe it's a good way to turn her evil. I don't necessarily want to. I don't think Leah has a lot of motivation. The problem is that Leah doesn't have a lot of motivations for power. She really just wants to know why the heck her life's falling apart around her. We got a lot of question marks about sort of what happened with her discrediting as a academic, her friends being killed over their research, and we're getting here and realizing that maybe that has something to do with her and her research. Now, political motivations for their actions, and we know it's related to Leah, which makes me think this is not something that's come up in the game so far, but we did bring up in the very beginning, like technically session 2, when we were coming up with Leah, and her background as a character, is that her father actually is a bureaucrat, I believe. So that might actually be where we're going here. So where's her dad at? Yeah, her father's a reeve. Sovlis. And her father's been MIA. Not necessarily like he's missing, like he's just not around. So I'm not sure she really knows that because she hasn't been sort of home. Because her mother has remarried. So this is her father, but is somewhat kind of estranged. So yeah, does this have... That's our recap. Went too far. We dug too deep. Huh. So... yeah, let's ask the Oracle. Does this seem related to her father's position as a bureaucrat? I think that's extremely likely. If Leah's tied to it and it's politically motivated, I think it's extremely likely that this has something to do with her father. Maybe they're trying to capture Leah to maybe try to force her father to do something, right? They're trying to maybe do a little espionage in that way, kind of you know, force our hand, kind of extort them to do something. I think this is extremely likely, so I'm going to say +5. Whoa, we hit it right on the head. That is way over. So natural 20 plus our 5 is a full 25, which I'm going to go ahead and give us some sort of boon, because we hit way over that, so we should get some sort of edge. Let's get an edge. 9. News of a remote plot change. So we figured this out. It was like, oh, this is some sort of political machinations dealing with her father. So it's very much dealing with her father. I think they're looking through the documents and like they find his name or the name of whatever the place is that he's a reeve of, which I guess I don't know. I don't think that's his hometown, because I think that's where her mother and stepfather live. And I don't think he's in Carjunton, or else we would want to talk to him. So he's somewhere else. He's reeve somewhere, and he's reeve, so he's a relatively lower level. So maybe he's on like a reeve for like a Margrave, like they're on a march somewhere that's maybe abutting this foreign faction. That makes sense to me. But so that makes sense. Let's get our notes. All right, so this is so it names her father. Sovlis. So it names her father specifically. And we believe this is a plot to force him to do something. We don't know what that is. But we do get news of some other remote plot. Right, that's what 9 is. News of a remote plot change. So that's a plot that we already have going. So let's take a look at our sort of adventure threads. How many of these we got? Alright, so right now we've got 11. So let's roll a d12. And see which one we're impacting. 7. Alright, so it has something to do with the gas revenge. Or we get news of remote plot change. It might be... Intercepted directions to Norcruth to give the location of the gas teleport circle in Argenton. Here's a question. Do we know what that landmark is? Maybe that's what we find out. Does it give us that information? Yes. Okay. So this is teleports to a specific landmark, which is now known to us. Follow-up question. Is it a teleport to where her father is the Reeve of? Like that area? I'm going to say it's likely because we're finding in the same sort of pile of documents. So +3. Yes. Yes, it is. Not only that, that's another edge for us if we want to take it. I think so. I think we're ripping through this information. Once we got a little bit of that key of that cipher, we're starting to, pull at that thread, and we're unraveling this sweater of intrigue. We're finding a lot of information out. Okay, so this goes teleports to I'm gonna say just the area where Leah's father is the Reeve. I'm just gonna say Sobless here, and then so that way I can give this a little bold, so I'll be able to pick that out later. Sobless. Whoop. There we go. B, not B. There we go. So Sobless, Leah's father. So we intercepted those directions, and I think we realize there's got to be something. Maybe what brings it up is like a quick sketch of what that magic circle looks like, that teleportation circle looks like, and then she pulls out the message they had intercepted from Norcruth and take a look at it. I think she takes it down. She places both of these pieces of parchment on top of Harold's book, and she's looking at both of them. She's like, I think these are the same. I think these are the same. I think she picks up the pages, and I think, again, Harold's is very stream of consciousness, so we see the words sort of like in handwriting float across the page as they sort of apparate. It's like, same, they're the same. This is the same teleportation circle. Where did this go? Where is this place? This is and I guess they know where it goes, right? They know that it goes to that, and I think she's able to be like, this is, I think it kind of gives like longitudinal, latitudinal sort of directions, whatever facilitates that for sort of like arcane teleportation. And I think they're both kind of looking at him and being like, okay, this is here and here. And it's like, oh, this is, I think this is where my father is, or at least in the area where he is. Is that why they want me? Is that why they're... It's so much. Why so much money? Why so much... An entire confederation of resources. Why would you put that all together to come get me? Why not just... I think there's like Harold's stream of consciousness. Why not just a kidnapping? Simple. Just pay somebody. Why not pay Ott? Why not grab you and bring you back? Why this? Why this whole thing? Why this entire confederation? Why is this getting pulled together? Is this the start of a larger softening up? Some sort of like pre-invasion? Question mark for everybody involved. do we find any evidence? And I think this might be our last check with the comprehend languages before it falls out. Is this? Oh, we could push for the edge. I forgot about the edge. Let's do. Well, let me write down the question, or else I'll forget the question. So, let me do that first. Let's go back up. Let's start. And maybe I just forgot it. What was the question I was going to ask? Oh, is the Confederation to soften up the area for invasion? Question mark. Invasion, maybe defection, whatever it is. It's some sort of changing of political alliance for that area. So let's go with the edge. So we have a D10. So what's our edge that we got off of our thing? We gain or lose a resource. So we're going to gain some sort of resource. Ooh, what's a good resource for us that we could pick up? Ooh, is there a... You know, we didn't really investigate the table. Is there a spell scroll here? Okay, no. So it's not a spell scroll. Is there a potion? That would be super helpful for us. Nope, certainly not a potion. What else could be helpful for us? I'm trying to think of. I think we are... we could do recharges on maybe like ammunition or a healer's kit. Nope, not that. Man, our rolls today. You know, I'm just gonna try to run some rolls out. Let's just do 5 rolls real quick. Yeah, look at those low numbers. 2, 3, 3. But I mean 2 19s, I guess. Let's try to get us some bigger numbers. We need some successes. We need some yeses in here. I'm tired of all these no's. Don't be a naysayer. Help me, dice. You're supposed to help me. Alright, so not a scroll, not a spell, not some sort of limited... What other resource could we be getting? Here's a question. Now, we know the noble... Nope, we already talked to the noble, and the noble said their piece. What about that other warrior? Is that resource a defector? Is somebody going to try to be like, actually, I'd be happy to ally with you guys. Maybe this person's more of a sellsword mercenary. Either that, or maybe they could have a prisoner in here. We haven't really searched the room too well. Do we have a defector? No, alright, it's not a defector. A prisoner, maybe? Somebody we can find? Yeah, sure, we'll take that. Alright, so there is a prisoner. We find somebody in here that we can... Who's been... why have we not come across them so far? Maybe they've been locked in a closet. There's probably like a supply closet or something in here. And we hear some banging from there, and I think... probably Imbar's the first person who runs over there and like jiggles the handle, the doorknob. It's like, oh, it's locked. I don't think she waits around. I think she rears back and kicks it. I don't think there's a roll for that. She's kicking open the closet door like that. Imbar has a positive strength modifier. She's a warrior. She knows how to kick at a door. So she just kind of turns around and kind of gives a good sort of like back kick, donkey kick. Just kind of kicks in the door. Opens it up, and there's apparently a person tied up in there, and probably gagged, I'm gonna guess. And I think she grabs that person and pulls it out. Now the big question, is that her father? I think that's extremely unlikely that it is her father. That it is Sovlus. But, you know, we don't know, we just named him, so maybe he's around. So let's roll. Extremely unlikely, -5. No. Alright, so it's not our father. So it is somebody, and it is supposed to be a helpful resource for us. So it should be somebody who's going to be their own sort of like sidekick character. So let's think about who that might be. So what are we currently lacking? So we kind of have, we have Leah, who's sort of an arcane caster. Not the greatest in the world, but is an arcane caster. We have Ott, who's sort of our guide and tracker and kind of does roguey stuff. We have Imbar, who's our sword and board, good old fighter. And we have Dilg, who is technically not a healer, but is our healer. So is this person maybe... I think this person could either be a healer or maybe could be a talkie person for us. Let's look at... Actually, what I want to do is I'm going to look at each of their sort of like ability scores. Where are we missing a good ability score? Yeah, we don't really have anybody, I think, that has a strong wisdom score. Particularly strong wisdom score, anyways. Yeah. So she has +2 in charisma, -1 in charisma, 0 in charisma, 0 in charisma. So it could be a charisma person, even though she does have a +2, but she's not trained in any of that stuff. She's not the greatest talkie person. So wisdom -1, +1, 0, 0. Yeah, it's going to be somebody with wisdom. So maybe a wisdom-based character. So thinking, so let's go ahead and I'm going to make these notes. Alright, so I'm just going to add, so we hear a commotion in a supply closet. Imbar kicks it open to reveal a prisoner. I'm just gonna it's supposed to be a resource for us, so we're just kind of skip through a little bit of the like if it's in to join us. Like they're gonna willing to join us as a companion. It's gonna be some sort of like new sidekick. A new sidekick. Could be a sage. Yeah, we have a lot of sage characters already, though. Is kind of the problem. Leah's pretty intelligent, pretty skill-wise, too. As well as some of the other people that we can kind of tap on. So we have Omer, who's back at camp, who also is very much a linguist and a sage and an academic. Our PCs are academics and our sidekicks are academics from that angle. And we have Elias back there, who's also of the same mind. So we have a lot of people who are already in the sort of like thinky smart people. So we can take a lot of this stuff back to them and they can probably work on it while we go do other stuff, which would be nice. That would be a better use of their resources. Once we get back to Akari's estate. If we get back to Akari's estate, I should say. Because we are still in the middle of a dungeon and things are not going great. So we hear a commotion in the supply closet. Imbar kicks it open, reveal a prisoner willing to join us. Companion. I think they're going to be wisdom based. We have quite a few experts, so I don't really want to do another expert. So I kind of feel like we need another caster. That would be super helpful if we had a caster. So it could be like a druid. It could be cleric, kind of. I think I'm probably gonna figure that out in between sessions. I don't want to spend our entire session kind of coming up with a new sidekick character. I'll do that later. So I think this is either going to be I think this is going to kind of go rock down the. I'm thinking maybe towards the paladin, ranger, and the paladin would be, I guess, a little bit more charisma build. So something that's a little bit more like cleric, rangery, maybe. The sidekick versions don't really do druids. I mean, they can do, which would be a little bit more like a shaman. So I think that, but they're either going to be sort of like a fighter or sorry, they're sidekick. So warrior or caster. I'm thinking caster because we're kind of getting our butts kicked in the spellcasting department. So I think that would be the biggest boon for us, the biggest resource for us. Would probably be a caster. Yeah, warlock if we went the charisma build would definitely work. Sorcerers, yeah. Wizard, we could throw in another wizard, but I think we really want somebody who's got non-arcane magic. I think in somebody who's either got sort of divine magic or that sort of primal magic, which will also give us some help with healing, which we desperately need, which would be helpful. So we've done that. We've gotten them out. We pull those out. We pull that person out of the closet, and they're kind of dealing with this. So I think at this point we have to make another roll. We have to see if we have some sort of encounter. 12, which is actually technically an encounter. We'll see. Let me see if something comes out of it. It's not like probably not a combat encounter though. Let's see if something jumps out. You have anything that's gonna make sense for this? Yeah, we've got some dungeon dressing. Maybe this is something that... Let's just use the dungeon dressing. This is something that we find in the supply closet, maybe. Once we open the supply closet. Gonna slam these together, 9 and 10. So 9 is sensory foreshadow of future danger. Interesting. And 10 is acid, bleached, broken, exploded, jammed, melted, pilfered, removed, repaired, sabotaged, tripped, something. Yeah, I think this probably supply rooms filled with all sorts of broken stuff. But it should give us some sort of sensory foreshadow of future danger. I don't know. Ooh, can we hear something through like the back? Through like the back wall of the closet? Is that what we do? I'm just gonna, you know what? I'm not even gonna roll for it. I'm gonna be like, yes, that's what happens. We hear that. So the operating theater, we definitely hear muffled speaking behind it. So we're like, oh, there's definitely people in that room. And I'm gonna go ahead and say that that's either room number 7 or room number 5. Number 7 we know is sort of like a hall or commons area that we know this room leads into, and then there's another doorway out of here that goes to another room that we know from the map, but didn't have any key on the map that we got from the dead knoll as to what's in that room. Spider sense, more like it. Yeah. And I'll be like, wait, what was that? I heard something. And so yeah, can we... Here's a question, can we ascertain... Again, this dungeon's very... Like, these are just line drawings, so I mean, it's not like a full layout. Can we ascertain, from what we know about the map and what we know as characters in the world walking through this dungeon, which of these rooms we think this leads to? This is attached to? Nope, no clue. Alright. Might not even be one of those rooms. Alright, so we do know that there's a room that's going to have people in it. Can we determine, are they speaking the foreign language? That's, we don't know. And we don't, well, here's the question. Is Leah's comprehend languages still up? I think that's unlikely at this point. -3. No. Alright, so her comprehend language is gone. But can they determine the language that's being spoken? Nope, it's too garbled. They're like, there's definitely people behind here, but we can't determine what sounds they're making. Alright, so we do know that there are people in here. And we're going to strip off this person who's been taken prisoner. I guess we should go ahead and get like some sort of species for them. I was looking for my Xanathar's guide. I put it down somewhere. Well, I don't know where I put it. It's around here somewhere. I was just using it the other day because I was looking something up for one of my games. Oh, there it is. Let me grab it. Of course, I put it back on the bookshelf because that's where books go. There is I know there's like a species, race chart, ancestry, whatever we are calling it now. There is a chart for it in the back here. I have too far, I think. I think it's in the 70s. I think it's in the This Is Your Life section. What is this? Okay, here we go. Class, occupation, weird stuff, cause of death. Oh, it's a D100 table. So we can at least figure out... This is just the basic D&D races. Or ancestries, or species, or whatever you want to call them. It's a dwarf. Alright. Our second dwarf at the party. Cool. Alright, so I'm just they are a dwarf. So we get them sort of like stripped out of their binds and ungagged and I'm trying to think of I guess we should give them a name. Which one are we gonna roll on? If it's high, we'll roll on the male side. Alright, look. So I guess a feminine dwarf. Let's give him a name. Let's do 100. 99. What's a 99? Jurgen. A really beautiful lilting dwarven name, Jurgen. All right. Thank you for getting me out of there. I didn't think anybody was gonna come down here. I thought I was gonna die in there. Not Hadrick. Yeah. She kind of like rubs her wrist where the ropes were. Thank you so much. I don't suppose you've seen my things, have you? We have not come across anything in the room. We have not. I don't think we did a full like room loot though. Clearly it's not in that closet. So I think we'll spend the extra time to go here, and then I think Leah's getting all the documents, packing up all the documents. I think that Ott's gonna move to keep an eye on the room to make sure like nobody sneaks up on them. So if we do have an encounter, we'll have a heads up on it. Imbar is going to who's better for that? I guess. Yeah, we'll do that. Imbar's going to watch over the captives, and maybe she'll make a rash decision as to what to do with them, if she puts them to the sword or not. Because I don't think anybody's prepared to walk around carrying these guys as prisoners. Because I think that's going to make a lot of problems for us. And Delg is going to take Jurgen, and the two of them are going to give a little search, maybe see if there's like a chest or something in the room that maybe has their gear in it, has her gear in it. And so they're gonna, the two dwarfs are gonna run off and do dwarf things. All right, so let's run through everybody. So Leah's doing that. Ott is checking. Let's see if we have that random encounter show up. No. Okay, so we're relatively safe for now. Leah stuffed all the stuff in her bag, so I'm gonna go ahead and add that she has all the. So Leah. I'm gonna say like coded communique into her backpack. I mean, I say that she has a scroll tube. She'll put it in a scroll tube. To review later. To review, let's say more in depth. I'm gonna say code crack. I'm gonna say that we have 1 of 3 successes. So that way, right, there's a little extra that we need to do with that. And actually, I'll put this down on a separate line. So 1 of 3 successes to crack. Alright, so that's everything that's in the closet. We've done that. She's thrown all the stuff away. The dwarves look for, and I'll give them both. I guess we'll use Delg since he's the one who's up here. I guess that's an investigation check. And you know what? I'll give them the perception. Why not? So +1. They're just kind of looking for stuff. I'm not sure if it's really locked up or hidden or anything. So I'll give him advantage because he has another dwarf helping him. So +1. We have advantage. We basically have to roll a 15 to hit our DC of 16 in this room. Not that last one. And the low rolls keep it coming. Don't you worry. We won't be succeeding at anything this session. Alright, well. So, we're gonna put that here. We're gonna be like, okay. So, Jurgen's stuff is somewhere in the dungeon. We do have a bunch of dead bodies. Well, any of this stuff, we don't really know who they are, but if they're going to be a wisdom-based character, they're probably going to be able to wear some form of armor. Will any of that stuff fit? I think they're going to do that in that same amount of time. They're going to look around and be like, alright, there's not a chest with you know, a whole bunch of your stuff in there. They're kind of talking, okay, what kind of gear did you have? Let's see if we can find you something. So stuff somewhere in the dungeon. So can we, can we find them some armor that fits? Nope. But we should be able to find weapons. What did the tribal warriors have, actually? Let me just go ahead and do that. The tribal warriors have spears. Okay, so we can give them a spear. And they have hide armor, but none of that hide armor is going to fit Jurgen, apparently. And I guess that nice breastplate that the noble has also doesn't fit them, which is unfortunate. Alright, well, we find her a spear. So we found her a spear. They don't have any ranged weapons, do they? Let me just double check, but I'm pretty sure. Let's see if the noble... I don't think the noble does too. I think the noble just got a rapier. If I remember correctly. Yeah, they just have the rapier. Yeah, they have that breastplate, but none of us can wear that. I'll go ahead and found a spear. Rapier, question mark, if she can use it. We don't know, because I don't know what she is yet. But there's a chance, like, if she ends up being a ranger or something like that, that she should be able to use a rapier. I guess it depends on whatever stat block I pick for her to make her into a sidekick. That'll determine what it's going to be. But yeah, that's it. I think we're about done in this room. I don't think there's anything else for to do. So here's a question. While everybody's busy doing something, does Imbar put these people to the sword? Imbar's a veteran adventurer. She knows what she's doing. I think that she's aware that if we take these people with us, they are going to spend all their time trying to escape or making sure that we don't ever sneak up on anybody by making a whole bunch of noise. I'm thinking there's one other thing she could do. But let's see. Does she put him to the sword? She's a veteran. She's a veteran adventurer, but she's not necessarily like cutthroat. So I'm trying to think. I think maybe it's just, I'm gonna say -3. I don't think she wants to like kill a whole bunch of like unarmed people. Though these people did try to kill us. So and maybe it's just flat roll. Does she kill these people? Yep, sure does. I think she's got a hammer and something else, right? Oh no, she has the sword with her right now. I think she just takes her sword, picks up, like, slings her shield on her back, picks up her sword, that moon blade sort of flares with light, and she just flips it around upside down and just does the thing where you like shove it in right here, straight down into the heart. Boom, that guy. Boom, the other one. And those guys are dead. So she executes them. And while everybody else is kind of busy. Here's a question. This will give us a good thing to find out. Does Jurgen try to give them last rites? That'll let us know if Jurgen's maybe like a religious kind of person, and that'll let us know if maybe she's gonna be like a cleric kind of sidekick. Does she seem animated to, or moved to, provide it, like last rites, succor for passage of the soul kind of thing? I don't know. So 50-50. Oh, she sure does. Okay, so she is probably... So we found her... Jurgen prays over them. So Jurgen will go administer... let's just say prays over them. If she doesn't have anything like a book or a holy symbol or anything over them. So we're going to be like, oh, is she... She is... So she's definitely religious in some form. So that might be something that we give her. I might just give her the bonus skill for religion. Maybe she's just a religious person. it speaks a lot to that character, to be like, these are people who imprisoned me and kept me in the closet, and I thought I was going to die in there, and then they get executed, and they get their comeuppance, and she feels compelled to still sort of like pray for them. So there's a high likelihood that she's probably a cleric then. But again, I gotta try and figure all that stuff out like off screen, like after the stream. For next time. Okay, so we do that. We've wrapped up basically everything in this room. So we can look at the door. Can we determine which door goes to 5 and which door goes to 7? Question mark. Basic baby intelligence. Won't matter with the 2. Surely can't. So we're just gonna pick a 50-50. I guess this is our first time in the room. We should see. Are there any other exits out of this room? See that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope. Surely aren't. That points right to the way we came in. Any secret doors? Well, I guess it doesn't matter. We should have. I mean, the answer to that is no. But we also didn't spend any time looking for it. We're not going to spend the time now. We spent too much time in this room. We need to move on. The longer we stay here, the more likely it is we're gonna run into somebody. So we pick a random door and start heading down it. I assume that we let Ott kind of do her sneaky thing up front. I'm just gonna roll a die. If I roll high, we're gonna go towards that halls and commons. If not, we're going the other way. Well, that's certainly a lower roll. So we start creeping down this other passage, which is going to be towards room 5, which we don't know anything about. At all. Let's see, where is it? Oh no, we do know what it is. I'm sorry. We know that this is I just apparently did not make that note on my map. We know that this is a dilapidated temple scriptorium. Yeah. We've run across a lot of scriptoriums, by the way. Which makes sense. We do know that this was sort of like an arcane and somewhat religious sort of research facility. So, yeah, it makes sense that there's like a lot of research materials. But this is also a dilapidated temple scriptorium, which means that it is falling apart. Alright, question. Does anything happen to us while we're walking down that hallway? Anything pop out and get us? Nope. Hallway seems clear. We like that. Ott is sneaking up ahead, and she's getting lifted there. As we go down this hallway, now we already know that we could hear voices from the back side of the closet in the operating theater. Are those voices getting stronger if we go this way? And that's an oracle question. It's 50-50, because it could definitely be coming from the other way. The answer is yes. Okay, so we do know that the voices are getting stronger. So people are in here having a conversation. As we get closer, are we better able to register what language they're speaking? I think that's likely. Yeah. I'm going to assume this is supposed to be the orc-themed room. Is it orcs? +5? I assume it's orcs. Oh, yeah. It's for sure orcs and only orcs. So we went up and we hear the sort of guttural, like, kind of talking back and forth. Can we get... Nobody speaks orc, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure nobody speaks orc, but let me double check. Common, Draconic, Elvish, Primordial, Undercommon. Common and Null. She speaks some Common, technically. Common and Dwarven. Common, Draconic, Dwarvish, Elvish, Primordial. If we had, what's-his-face with us, which we don't, he'd be able to tell us. But he's not here. Dren's half-brother. But we left him back with the hermit. Because, you know, he's not a warrior. And we also are tasked to deliver him somewhere else. This mission, we're just kind of taking... This is kind of our main mission, which is a side tangent from our other mission. We got a lot of missions going on. We got a lot of quests, kind of. A lot of irons in the fire, as they say. So we got a lot going on. And we're going down here. We definitely hear orcs. And it feels like only orcs. And we don't have anybody who can... Oh, actually, Dren's half-brother speaks Goblin, not Orc. Oh, but he was talking to Orc, so maybe he does know Orc. Regardless, he's not here. He cannot help us. We have no idea what these people are saying. Leah is certainly not going to blow a comprehend languages spell for that. We've run into some Orcs already, and it has not gone well. So, hashtag only Orcs. Game is game. Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna... So I don't think we have any reason not to sneak up and kill these guys. So we can't we can't think of exactly... Yes. I'm gonna let Ott sneak up. So we're gonna give her a stealth check. We have not... Have we decided a DC for this room? Alright, everything's DC 12. So she's gonna do a little stealth. She's gonna do a little stealth up. And 11 plus her stealth is absolutely going to be a 12. So she's going to sneak up. And she's going to perception. And, like, I don't think that... She's not necessarily... She can't understand the language, for sure. But I'm trying to see, can she... I can give her an insight check to like, understand the body language as to, like, what's kind of the vibe that's going on in this room. Sure, why not? That's going to beat the DC 12. Alright. So, one of the cool things that I always get kind of giddy to use, because I don't get to use it that often. I don't use it as often as I should. Is I have this fun little table in my Dungeon Master binder that's a D10 that's like, what are the monsters doing? Just like when you rock up on them. They're performing some sort of leisure activity. So D4. What exactly are they doing? Ooh, 4. They are engaging in some polite substance abuse. And I guess no one cares enough to talk with me. That's alright, I'll talk with you. It'll be fine. So they are engaging with some light substance abuse, either through drugs or drinking. Here's the question: Are these orcs like absolutely zonked out of their brains? Are they absolutely intoxicated? No. Okay, so we're catching them pretty early in their revelry. So they're just not like blackout drunk crazy or full like greened out high or anything like that. So they're just now getting into it. I think they're probably coming into there and they're probably around the table. They're probably like playing dicing, and maybe they're having some singing, maybe some orcish like arm wrestling, pushing back and forth. So there's definitely orcs in here. The question I guess for us is how many and only orcs? Is it only orcs? Oh yeah, it's only orcs. We're about to crash a full orc party. All right, let's find out some orcs for us. Orc. Here are orcs. Let's do it by CR. So 1/2. We have. I guess technically we have 5 with us here. I'm not really sure I want to include Jurgen as a combatant yet, though. I think between her and Delg. Oh, that's a good question, actually. Considering Delg's fighting capabilities and potentially Jurgen's, I guess it won't really matter. I was gonna say that he could give his like armor to her, but I don't think it's gonna matter. So I'm just gonna keep them as 4 for right now. But we are level 4, and we always want a hard encounter. I think maybe just basic. I kind of want just like a whole bunch of orcs. So we can have, okay, so we can have, let's say 2d4. 2d4's worth of orcs are in here. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. That makes sense to me. Yeah, 2d4 orcs are in here. Alright, so there are 5 orcs in here. orc. Yeah, if they were Swedish, I could do my best Swedish chef impression. Unfortunately, I don't think Ott's going to be able to pull off a Swedish accent. Being a big knoll. So I don't think she's going to be able to do that. Though she is a 7-foot-tall Swedish murder machine. So yeah, there's dilapidated scriptorium. There are 5 orcs in here. Let's get some extra details about sort of the room, though. Let's do that before we hop in. I mean, we're pretty much going to go into combat. That's pretty much what's going to happen. But you know, just gonna give us the vibe. So we've got the room number, we've got the size, we've got sort of the theme on it, we've got the type and the DC. So we've got all that good stuff. But we want some dressing for it. Just some sprucing. What's kind of going on in here? Let's roll 2d20. A little d20 chart. 4 and 7. Alright, so what do we got in here? We got some sort of minor utility magical effect. That's usually something like a light, or in the other room we had that had prestidigitate where it dusted itself and cleaned up after itself, and that was fun. And number 7. Ooh, some sort of message is written in here. Question. And I think it's almost a certainty. So +5. Is it orcish graffiti? No. Okay, it's not orcish graffiti. Is it some sort of what else could be fun in here? Like maybe like an arcane research facility, like a warning poster, like, hey, make sure to keep chemicals out of your eyes, kind of like chemical lab kind of thing. Yeah, okay. So there's a bunch of stuff that's written on, like warnings and like handlings and workers' rights and all sorts of weird stuff that's like posted on the walls of like any sort of employer's sort of break room kind of thing. Like that's sort of what's going on in here. So there's a bunch of, or like rules. So there's sort of like let's say rules for the scriptorium. So there's scriptorium was on the walls, and what was it? Oh, some sort of minor utility. It's a scriptorium, so I'm gonna guess it's light. It's primary thing there. It's either light or temperature control. It might be temperature control, actually. So let's ask. If we roll high, it'll be light. If it's low, it's temperature control. Alright, so it's temperature control. Magical temperature. I'll say temperature and, like, humidity control. You know, the sort of things that are supposed to help those... Helps, you know, scrolls, pieces of papers, not degrade over time. Kind of, like, give them a pristine sort of, like, archaeological environment in which they can persist. Well, the Swedish chef also does not have a Swedish accent. I mean, you don't know. I don't understand what he says. I don't speak Swedish. So, maybe he does. Alright, so we've got our scriptorium rules on the walls. With that. And what is in this room? So we know at least one of those dice is... We're going to have to roll until we get monsters, because there's definitely monsters in here. We're just going to keep rolling until we get a 5 or 6. First. And then we'll figure out what else is in this room. 6. Alright, so monsters. We rolled a decent perception check, so if there's a trap or something else that's in here, we'll see that. Oh, nope, just a whole bunch of monsters. Do we want to... but there is going to be a treasure in here. Do we want to beef those numbers maybe a little bit? That would... I really don't want to do that. But here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to roll with advantage. Alright, no. So it's still 5. Still 5, so we didn't accidentally bump up to like 8 of them. So that's good. So there's 5 orcs in here. There's a treasure in here, though. So there's a... orcs. And there's a little bit of treasure in here that we can loot the room on. So that's sort of what we come up to. And they seem to have busted out some sort of intoxicants. They are orcs. Well, orcs abusing substances. Abusing. There we go. Is it? I mean, my go-to is usually like, oh yeah, it's probably like ale or liquor or something like that that they've cracked open a keg in here. So that's going to be my assumption till I'm proven wrong, basically. Because who knows? Maybe they could be doing meth in here. I don't know what they're doing. They could be completely doing something else. In the one shot I was just running, one of the little custom magic items I made was bumps of pixie dust. You just little, which helps you and gives you some bonuses. It basically kind of gives you it's kind of like a point of inspiration. Kind of gives you advantage on one check or the save or attack or whatever you want to use it for. Just a bonus action. Take a little bump of pixie dust and have a little bit of a heightened competency for a second. This could be something like that. Alright, but that is sort of the situation that we're running into. I think that she comes back and kind of tells everybody, like, hey, ahead. Orcs. 5. Again, she doesn't speak the greatest common. Okay. Leah's like, alright. Jurgen, right? Right. Hey, great to have you along for our incredibly dangerous mission. Stranger, I don't know. We're probably gonna get into a fight. We're probably gonna kick off a fight. Hang back with Delg. Protect yourself. Just be prepared. Things could get dicey. We're gonna do what we can do. Okay. Alright. Everybody ready? And I think we're gonna sneak up. We'll give us you know what? I already rolled her stealth. She already did first. I'm gonna let her rock up, and then she's gonna be the first one to attack because she's kind of in the lead. But then let's go ahead and do an initiative, and then we'll start the initiative wherever she starts acting because she's the person who's in the lead. So initiative order is a little wonky because it's not really necessarily about rolling high. Well, she'll get to go, and then we'll just go through the initiative order. That makes sense. That makes sense to me. All right, where's our combat tracker? Combat tracker. There we go. Boop. All right, so we've got monsters. Orcs. We got 5 of them. How many hit points these guys got? I don't. Actually, I think they might have quite a few. With orc. Yeah, there we go. They have 15 hit points apiece, and they have a +1 to initiative. Perfect. So they are going on 11, and there's 5 of them. I think Leah understands the situation. We can't take a lot of hits anymore. We don't have a lot of healing on our side. Is one of the problems. So I think she understands that we need to go big in the opening. So she'll probably cast some sort of level spell, or maybe use one of her wands if she can. Orcs, funny guys being hit like frickin' trucks. Yep, yeah. Definitely does that. So, they don't have a ton of hit points, so if we can get the drop on them early. Leah. Ott. Terrible. Okay. Imbar's gonna go first, for some reason. Man, we just rolled just awful. Imbar. Then it was Leah. Leah. And then I'm going to put Del Jurgen. Because they're both kinda combat, kinda not combat. And let's be in there. So, Imbars gets to go first. We are going to let Ott do her thing first. Ott is going to draw her longbow very quietly, pull an arrow, pull a couple of arrows, hold the other arrow in her hand, pick a target, lock on the target, and take a shot. She is going to fire with advantage on both of these because she is definitely surprising them. I guess technically this is a surprise round. They do not know that we are here. So technically we should all get a round through the first roll through the initiative before they go. Because we are fully surprising them. We very much did a good job of passing the stealth check to get in here and seeing what they were doing and sneaking up on them. So she picks up one, she takes a shot at it. What's their AC? I can't imagine they have like a 13, right? Yeah. All right, so she hits with the first one. She does whopping 4 damage. Okay. And takes another shot. We'll also hit, hopefully for more than 4 damage. How about 3 damage? Alright. 7, no, not rerolling. 7 points of damage. So this first one takes 7 points of damage. Ooh, could have gone a lot better. Could have just straight up killed that guy. Did not do that. Top of initiative is Imbar. Imbar, I guess, is gonna... Is she gonna rush in? How's Imbar look? She has 31 hit points, but can't be healed during this combat. I think she's going to take a shot with her longbow, and then she's going to swap and kind of hold... Because we're in the doorway. So I think she's going to try to hold the doorway and protect everybody behind her, because nobody else is really sort of like an upfront fighter, except for Imbar. So she's going to take a shot with her longbow, and then she's going to spend the rest of her stuff kind of moving to the front and swapping out her weapon and shield. Oh, I guess that's true. She could get the Warhammer to Jurgen. Jurgen's probably better with the Warhammer. It won't matter. I guess the spear's going to be the same thing, kind of. It won't matter. I don't think too much about that. Alright, so Imbar's going to take her shot. She still has advantage. Alright, she's going to hit that one, probably the one that's already been hit. And do 7 points of damage to it, which leaves it with 1 hit point. Come on, guys. We just plugged this first orc with 3 arrows that's still kind of staggering around. Orcs miss their turn because it's the first round of combat and they're surprised. Oct. Goes again. Sure, let's shoot that one guy. Yeah, she certainly has +4. Don't really need to roll for damage. That guy will die. So that first guy, it takes 4 arrows, but we take the first guy down. Oh, I guess probably she shouldn't have advantage anymore. And she would have hit either way, but we should. Are they Cockney orcs? Are they Warhammer 40k orcs? ORK? They need that DACA. So I don't think she probably has advantage anymore because they've already had their turn. But she is definitely going to hit with that. 16 on the die, and she's going to do 7 points of damage to this next one, which is much better damage than she's been rolling. Leah's in the back. Leah's got some spells. It's time to pull out some big spells if we're going to do some spells. Not that I have a lot of big spells to pull out, is the problem. Detect magic, find familiar, grease. Yeah, why not? She'll try a grease spell. Let's do a grease spell. And she's going to grease the area, basically, that's in front of Imbar. That they'll have to, like, move across if they want to engage. So she's going to do that. She's going to cast grease. Are any of these guys actually already in that area? Question mark. Yes. Okay, there's 4 of them. How many? 1. Okay, so that first one. Let me double check grease real quick. I don't think I'll need to. So I don't think they have to make an immediate spell. When the grease appears, each creature standing in it must succeed a dexterity saving throw or have the prone condition. Okay, so they are going to have to do that. Alright, so they need to make a dex save. That one that's in there has a +1 to their dex save. Which is 15, which I think may actually be her DC. What's her DC? Yeah. Her spell DC is 13. Alright, so that first one does not slip, so that one stays up. Ooh. Kind of catches itself as legs almost come out from underneath him. Alright, well, we still got the grease up, so if they want to move through it, they're still going to have to do it. And then, if they make their way all the way up there, we can just light it on fire. Which is our good tactic. This is our good go-to tactic right now. Has been grease things, then light them on fire. Which you get that +1 to fire damage, so I would say that that includes ongoing fire damage from one of your... Well, I don't know, because the ongoing effects of grease being on fire is not necessarily magical. That's more of a practical fire. So, maybe it doesn't get the +1. I'll make a decision about that when it comes up. Alright, Doug and Jurgen's turn. They're in the back. They don't really... Doug's not a super strong warrior. Everybody else has already been healed, and that there's not really anything for him to do except he's gonna try to take a sling, I guess. The first one, and Jurgen doesn't have any ranged weaponry, so that's gonna hit. So Doug's gonna sling that guy that's been hurt. He's gonna take 2 points of damage. Almost doing as much damage as Ott did in her surprise kickoff. That's the end of the round. Back up to the top. It's Imbar again. Imbar is going to... She's sitting up in the front. These dudes are probably about to charge her. She could either take the dodge action, or she could ready an action to hit them when they get here. She's taking her second wind, right? Yes, of course she has. I think she's going to take... We have to be very conservative with our hit points, so I think she's going to take the dodge action rather than prepare a hit. Because she's probably going to take more than one in this round. So she will take the dodge action. Because they are literally all grabbing their weapons and charging towards her. She's like steadying herself and getting behind her shield and kind of like, you know, bobbing a little bit like an athlete. Like, all right, let's do it. Let's do it. All right, they're going to charge in. Let's get our orcs. They get great axes. They're going to have to all move through the grease, though. So they all have to make that save. They could do a ranged attack. I'm going to give them just a generic wisdom saving throw against her spell DC to be like, hey, maybe running through that grease isn't the greatest idea. I'll do one for all of them. Why not? There's 4 of them. Fail, 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 fail. And they all fail. They all grab their great axes and rush across the grease, and now they all make their saves. Fail, 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 pass. So the first 3 fail and fall on their face in the grease. So I'm just going to put a little P there so I know they're prone. 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 And, technically they'll spend the rest of their movement to stand up, which I believe they can do. Let me double check that. Grease. Oh, it turns into difficult terrain. So they weren't going to be able to get there unless they spent their... Well, they could use their bonus action to get there. Prone. Yeah, so they're just prone. So they stand up, but they're not able to get there. But the one who did pass is going to be able to make it all the way up to the front, which is going to be this last one. So I'm going to see is sort of like... This one's in melee. So that one's going to run up and actually make it to Imbar and be able to actually make an attack. Great thing is that they have disadvantage on the attack. They have a +5 to hit, though. I guess I should change the movement. Yeah. I'll change it. Since we're doing combat, we should do a little combat music. Well, thank goodness we took away that natural 20. The 2 is not going to hit. So this guy comes in with like big sort of like skull cleaver attack with that great axe. She lifts up that shield and just like takes the blow. As this thing hammers down blows down on top of her. That's the orcs. They try to make it. Only one of them's up there. Leah's got 4 orcs that are standing in fire. I think she will use Igni. But she will cast her Firebolt first. She's going to do it against the one that... Yeah, I guess the one that's in the front. The one that's actually in melee combat. I was going to say go against the one that's already hurt, but... probably hard to see that we got a bunch of bodies crushed up in the front of this passageway into the room. So maybe not a great line of sight on that. So she's just going to go against the one she can see in the front. and do a firebolt. Yeah, that's gonna hit. So she has 1d10 plus 1. So that guy takes 4 points of fire damage. And she sort of like snaps her finger, and Igni poofs up on her side, which is her fire method familiar, and flaps forward, and you see him takes in a bunch of air and does his what is essentially burning hands. He breathes fire all over that front. I think he can only hit that one. Let's just ask. Can he hit anybody else except that first person? No. Alright, so he's just going to hit that first person, but he's going to hit all the grease too. I believe they need to make a dexterity saving throw. Oh, natural 20. Kind of blocked for most of it, but they are going to take half damage, I believe. Where is it? Fire Breath recharges on 6. So they pass, but they take 2d6 fire. Unfortunately, does not get the bonus from her new staff. Gonna take half that damage. Takes a whopping 3 points of damage, but the grease is on fire. And that's going to start hurting them. I'm gonna say... I think I'm going fire damage is usually a d6. I think. Alright, so that guy's gonna take 3 points of damage. Oops, sorry. Gonna take 3 points of damage, so he's at 8 hit points. And the grease is on fire. Grease on fire! Grease is on fire. That's what we need to know. And actually I can drop this down so you guys can see it. It's a little bit better. There we go. For the combat tracker. Alright, so we do have it's Leah's turn. Igni went. Delg, again, can't heal anybody, so we're down to basically giving the help action. And they're far in the back, so that's not really helpful. The help action is not really helpful. To give it to... Can't really give it to somebody like Imbar, because they can't get to them. So they'll just take a sling attack. Come on. Do we hit one of our own people? No. Okay, good. Did we break the sling? No. Okay, good. So the sling's fine. But he just kind of like rockets a sling stone off the walls of the passage. Pop, 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 pop. And just kind of flies into the fire of the grease in the room. As, again, smoke starts to like choke into this room. So we are in an underground area that we just lit on fire. Again, this is par for the course for Leah and her company. I mean, Leah likes to set enclosed places on fire, apparently. Universities, castle ruins, whatever this research facility. We set a lot of things on fire. It's what we do. So that was Delg. Didn't really do anything. Imbar's up at the top. Imbar did take the dodge action. Is she going to take the dodge action again? I don't know. I'm going to give her... Let's give her a wisdom saving throw. Because I think that, like, against the room DC of 12. I think the best option is to sit back and to take the dodge action. But I think that she might want to attack. Okay, yeah. So she... Unfortunately, it's not great. If I was a player who was only playing Imbar, I'd feel that was a little boring as a fighter to be like, I sit in the front and I take the dodge action, not get hit, and to basically be a choke point for everybody. So she will take the dodge action again. The orcs all go. The orcs, what do we think? D6 for fire? Does that sound good? I'll just ask the oracle. Yes. All right. D6 for fire. Everybody in that's gonna take I guess fire. You can't really do a dexterity saving throw in the middle of a grease fire that you're already in. So I don't think that there's any... I don't think there's any save for that. You know. No, I mean, they're just in it until they move. They're starting their turn in it, and they're starting their turn in it, which means that they need to make the... Let's do it this way. We'll treat the I'm going to say it's 1d6 fire. If they fall prone, I'm going to treat that as like a crit for the grease fire, because they're going like full body into the fire, rather than it just sort of like around their legs. So they need to make dexterity saving throws again, because they're in here. They only have to meet a 13. Their bonus to dex is what? +1. So, we got 4 guys in here. They only need to roll a 12. Alright, so 3, there are 2 are going to pass, 2 are going to fail. So, 1 succeeds, 2 fails, 3 succeeds, 4 fails. This one fails, and this one fails, which means that they are going to take... We'll do the straight damage first that everybody's going to take, and then roll a little extra d6 for the other guys. Alright, guys who succeeded will still take max damage. Nice. So that one dude screams as he burns alive still. He's the one who had gotten a bunch of the grease on him already and been shot and... and tries to like throw himself across the table stuff. You know, very classic sort of like action movie. The guy runs by on fire kind of thing. So that guy, not doing very good. This guy, not much better. Also on fire. And the extra little bits for our other friends. Oh, what? Oh, okay. So these other guys take 12 points of damage. Alright, sorry bud, you're dead. This guy is barely alive. These guys are gonna... What are they gonna do? I think they're gonna try to retreat. It's still technically the start of the turns. They haven't done anything yet, so I am gonna give them a morale check at this point, because this is not going well for them. They were having a nice drink, having a good time, and then some adventurers kicked open the door, threw a bunch of oil all over them, and then lit them on fire and started shooting them with arrows. Or I guess reverse. They were kicked in the door, started shooting us with arrows, threw a bunch of grease on us, and then lit us all on fire. So, you know, charisma saving throws. Alright, never mind. They're in it to win it. Their orcish blood fury turns on. They do not have the orc thing where they get not indomitable, where they get reduced to 0 hit points and then come back at 1. They do not have that ability. Thank goodness. But they're still aggressive, so that one is going to get up. They can definitely close now, so that one's going to get up. They can both close into melee, and they'll both take attacks on Imbar at disadvantage. Nice. 3's not going to hit. 3 or 6 is not going to hit Imbar. So they rush up, they're slipping and sliding all over the place. The people are on fire, they're swinging their great axes at him, they're like hitting the walls around the passageway. She's like, just doing her rolls, ducking and weaving behind her shield, staying low. They are not able to get to her. Wow, this has been an extremely good combat, and I hope by saying that out loud, I have not jinxed that. I hope not. They don't have many hit points left, but they are apparently not going to surrender or try to run away. So those are the orcs. They're actively on fire. Question: is the grease fire still going? Oh. The grease fire is not still going. Okay, so the grease fire goes out. That's fine. We got a bunch of damage out of that one spell. A bunch of damage. We couldn't ask for more. Absolutely fantastic use of grease. Absolutely wins it. That's why we have the spell. Alright, yeah, let's go take a couple shots. He gets the one that's hurt the most. That'll hit. She literally can't do any less than 3 points of damage, so she'll definitely kill that one. And then she's going to hit the other one for D8. So she's just doing that odd thing where she just plugs people with a longbow for another 5 points of damage. This guy, dead. This person has 4 hit points left. That orc has 4 hit points left. Pulls back, fires, in the neck. That one goes down. Pulls back. Fires this one in the chest. But still up. Still reeling. Kind of on fire and singed. Trying to wail on Imbar in the front with that great axe. It's Leah. Leah is going to level her new ash wand. I think it like lights up like the red that's inside like coals. Like inside the coals are, you know, the bottoms of the ash of fire. Kind of like, I'm thinking it's like a black staff, and you can see the sort of like fire, the red, and it sort of start to light up, and she's going to cast a firebolt as she points it at this one remaining one. And she definitely has a +30 spells, right? Yeah. It would be weird if she didn't. Yeah. So she hits for 1d10 plus 1 because of the special staff. 8. And she kills that guy. So orcs. Dead. That's good too. So the fight ends. It dies down. The fire. There's still a bunch of smoke everywhere. Very like cloying and thick and choking. And the fire's at the edges of the green. It still slip a little bit, like getting into the room. Combat could not have gone better. Nobody got hurt. That was a good use of one spell slot, basically. So we're able to get in there. Alright, so we get in here. I guess we start. Everybody's kind of getting used to the drill now. Now that we've been doing a little bit of dungeon crawling, so everybody's like, okay. Dilg and Jurgen kind of turn around and sort of like watch the doorway and trying to make sure that nobody sneaks up on them. Everybody else is going to sort of like split up and start picking over bodies and searching the rooms, looking for anything that's useful or helpful in any sort of way. So yeah, let's do some checks because we do know that there's some treasure in here. All right, so let's update our tracker. We pick up on some orcs enjoying a few drinks in the dilapidated scriptorium. A lot of scriptoriums again. I mean, it makes sense. Again, it's a sort of research facility. It makes sense that there's like a bunch of library, bunch of documentation of stuff. But it is a little weird from a dungeon sense because I think this is like the third or fourth scriptorium or library that we've run across. It's just very funny. And them taking no injuries. Now we do need to roll for some arrows for Ott. What are Ott's arrows at? So she has a d6 of arrows, so we're going to do our resource roll. If we roll, you know, a 1, it goes down. So hopefully we don't roll a 1. We don't. We roll another 6. Nice. And then we have a lantern going as well. We should probably check on that. I can't remember who's carrying the lantern. I guess Imbar is, because Imbar is really the one who needs it because she doesn't have dark vision. So yeah, we'll give it to Imbar. So Imbar's carrying our torch. How's our torch doing? Or sorry, a lantern. How's our lantern doing? Technically, Delg's carrying it because he's got one hand free. So we're good on oil. So everything's good there. We're probably not going to find. There's some hide armor. Do we find any hide armor that fits? I guess Jurgen. No? Okay, that's not surprising. So nothing on those guys. So we'll pick over their bodies real quick. So there is a treasure in this room. Let's do the... And I think we'll do the treasure rolls, and that's probably where we're gonna... We'll figure out where we're gonna go next, and that's probably where we're gonna cut it for this session. But let's go ahead and do that. So we'll just do the treasure rolls live, just to kind of cool down from that fight a little bit. As we take the time. Actually, I'm going to give us a little bit different. Let's go this way. We start sort of poking over it. Alright, so we're going to do some little minor loot rolls. you guys have been watching this for a while, you know what we're talking about. If this is your first time watching it, we have some rules to just kind of figure out what kind of minor loot, you know, sometimes bad guys have on them. So we've got 5 of them. Let's say we're just gonna do it here. Loot. We've got 5 of them, so we'll just do some rolls real quick. So we got 5 d20s that we need to roll. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pocket contents. Trade good, pocket content. Trade good, pocket content. Okay. Easy enough. Pocket. Trade. Pocket. Trade. Pocket. Do you know what comes in this next in this sequence? So we have 5. Let's just do the pocket contents real quick. That's super easy to do. So it's just sort of, I have a table that's a 2d6 table that's just like random stuff people are going to, if you come across bodies, they might have on them. Or if you just rob people, you might find on them. 1 and 6. Some sort of a lens. That's interesting. Question, is it a magnifying glass? That's extremely unlikely. It is not. Is it a spyglass? That's extremely unlikely because both of those things are worth a bunch of money. Apparently it's a spyglass. Okay. Which is one of the more expensive mundane pieces. It's worth like 1,000 gold or something like that, right? Do they call it a spyglass in 5e? I can't remember. And they do indeed call it a spyglass, and it is indeed worth 1,000 gold. It also gives bonus perception checks, but probably not in the dungeon. Well, I found a spyglass. That's worth a lot of money. That's worth more money than actual money we have on us. So wow, incredibly lucky break, by the way. Even if we sold it for 1/10 of its cost, that'd still be 100 gold. But it's also extremely useful once we get back to sort of the hex crawling stuff to be able to do the perception checks at advantage, just straight off the bat because we have the spyglass. That'll be super helpful for us. So we are probably going to keep that thing. Though if we get into a bind, we can always sell it because it's worth a lot of money. If we can find some place to sell it, that's the other problem. So we got to go back to Carjuntan or another city that's large enough that we can actually get a fair deal for it. That there's actually enough money. There's somebody around who has enough sort of like liquid currency to actually buy it from us. Which is not like every little farming hamlet. All right, more pocket contents. Let's do it. 54. I'm jazzed just because we got such a good item. 5, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. D10. Get a little bit of money. We find a coin purse. 2 gold. All right, not too bad. It happens. Sometimes it's a huge windfall. Most of the time, it's just like nothing. Even though 2 gold is more than we usually get with a. What do I think? I'm trying to think. He's got they come across one that's got fruit. I'm going to say something like dates. That seems right for the region. And one's got a little snack pouch full of some dates. Probably not going to be worth any money. So, pouch dates. Yeah, and I like the sort of like my minor loot tables. They kind of just give you all these sort of like weird little random things to come across, and you can be like, oh, I really like this, and depending on your players, sometimes they're like, oh, I really like this, and I'm gonna take it. Or you can, if you come across something like the dates and you need it, you could be like, hey, is this enough to sort of help me recharge our ration store or something like that? Check on it that way. And sometimes you just find random things like a spyglass that's worth a whole bunch of money. We could turn that spyglass into how many healing potions? 20 healing potions if we just did a fair one-to-one trade. I'd rather have 20 healing potions right now, but that's not what we got. We got the spyglass. That's okay, though. That's alright. We'll survive, I guess. Alright, so trade goods. What do we got? What do we got? Alright, so 13. 1d50. 5. Alright. Well, let's see. 36 coppers worth of something. I rolled a 3. Uh, 36 gold worth of bone. Or let's say horn. Or nothing. It's 36 copper. Let's say teeth. 36 coppers worth of teeth. It's like a little tooth necklace or something like that. And we're like, okay, I guess if I wanted this, it is technically worthwhile to somebody. I'm not sure if this is worth. I'm just gonna say tooth necklace. Like it's a bit grim. And one more thing of trade goods. I mean, necklace isn't technically a trade good, but that's alright. No, I take that back. I think jewelry is in here. 7. So this is going to be coffee, tea, or tobacco. Or, you know what, it could be... I may just switch it around, may just be sort of like the... I think I said that they were enjoying alcohol, so we'll just go with... This could be the alcohol they were enjoying. Ooh, I rolled high. 17. 1d100's worth of... High again? Yeah. Okay. Wow. So this is gold pieces. Whoa. All right. 93 gold worth of liquor. Some type. Let's say we got some dwarves here. Is this sort of like a I'm thinking like a dwarven, like a rye whiskey or something like that. Is that what this is? Yeah, okay. Alright, 96 grams. So, grams. 96 gold worth of dwarven rye whiskey. Dwarven rye whiskey. 96 gold worth of dwarven rye whiskey. All right, so we find that cask that they've sort of they've put the spigot into and give it a taste. And we're like, I think this is probably who comes across this. That's a good question. Who does come across this? I'm gonna say that Imbar probably comes across it, and Imbar like gives a whistle for either Delg or Jurgen to come over. I think they come over and take a taste. Oh, that's good stuff. We should take this with us. This is worth some money. And, you know, I think Imbar kind of looks around, specifically looking for Leah and Ott, who are busy kind of doing their own things, kind of rummaging around. You know, let's just have a little. We'll have a little. They take a little snifter. I'm going to say that they take a little snifter. That's going to reduce the value a little bit. Let's say, how much does it reduce? I'll give it a D10. How much does it reduce it by? Oh, only 2. So there's actually quite a bit of it. So it goes down 9 for gold. But they take a little snifter, a little shot. That is good. Then they go back to what they're doing. Alright, so that was the loot. We also know that there's loot in the room, so we'll give ourselves, I'm gonna give us a treasure roll. I'm gonna give us advantage on all the rolls. We know there's treasure in here. 9 or 7, doesn't matter. We could take pocket contents or we could take trade goods. I'm gonna take the trade goods. So some other sort of trade goods in here. For the rolls, oh, we rolled so poorly. Alright, it's a D20's worth. What type of... Okay. Only a D20's worth of silver of what? Not that it matters. That would make sense. 16 is narcotics. 9 is flour grain. Let's go with narcotics. 20 silver's worth of some sort of narcotic. And we found, oh, I need to actually roll for the 20, though. Yeah, that's basically nothing. Alright, 3 silvers worth of narcotics. Alright, so some little drug that they also had. Here that they were enjoying along with their fine dwarven rye whiskey. Alright, so yeah, that's sort of what we find in here. There's exits in this room, presumably, so let's take a look at the exits in here. Because I don't think that they're... I guess I should ask. I should ask since we are in the room. Because Lee's kind of going through the things. Do we find anything that's particularly useful to us? I don't think so. I think this is just the orcs are holding up, having a good time. And I don't think there's going to be anything that's some sort of like privileged information or any sort of thing. We didn't get any notes off of them or anything like that. That's one of the things you can roll on pocket contents. Random notes that they might have in their pockets or maps. That's how we found that. We got maps off the Dead Knolls before. Kind of like the layout, a part of the layout of what's going on here. But, do we find anything that's particularly useful to the quest that we're on? I think that's extremely unlikely. Alright, but the answer is still a 12, so technically that's still a yes. So we do find something that is of interest to sort of the ongoing plot. I think I'm just going to roll on the Shadow Dark prompts. Let's see if we get something interesting. If we find something interesting that kind of gives us some information. Drugs, here we go again. Yeah. Because there are drugs and alcohol on my loot tables, they come up a lot. So 71. Scatter. Where are we going to scatter? Scatter order. Okay. Scatter order. I mean, that doesn't really tell us anything new about what we know. We know that they're sort of is this sort of like a document, like maybe some orders? I think that's extremely likely. +5. Yeah. Okay. So I think these are like, we find a little bit of orders, some orders that are written, and we kind of parse them out. Again, we don't really understand the language super well, but it's probably written in common for the orcs. What's common to us? It's probably not written in Orcish. So we do find a note of orders for the orcs in, let's say, middling common proficiency. About, what was it? It was scattering order, right? So I think this is the way that they're trying to, so I think we're going to intuit that orders are to spread out, let's say, defensive resources. Let's say instead of spread out, spread thin defensive resources. So what they're trying to do is like create so many, it seems like they're trying to create so many like little fires, like so many little issues like the raids and all that stuff, and those are all concerted and like coordinated together. That they're trying to do so many so that any of the defenders, like any of the castles that has guards and soldiers and things, and the might to sort of like security-wise to deal with these, safety and security-wise to deal with these sorts of threats, are having to spread themselves really thin because they're having to go split themselves up into like small little like platoons and groups to like go deal with a whole bunch of little things kind of all over the place. And so it kind of leaves some of these larger sort of like spoils of war or control really under defended. So I think that's what they're doing. They're kind of like, their orders to kind of basically, hey, go do orc things, like go cause havoc and raid and draw attention, and you can have all the spoils of war. And I think we have that right here with this dwarven rye whiskey that they've probably pulled back from one of their raids, and they're enjoying. Along with, now I start to wonder if whether that tooth necklace, if maybe those are fresh teeth, and that's horrifying to think about. So I'm gonna stop thinking about that. So we intuit that those orders are just spread sort of Everybody thin. Here we go. Okay. You use the drugs like dry bomb on Fireball too. Yeah, we didn't say what the narcotics are. They might not necessarily be super dry, like a dust, like a cocaine kind of thing. Might not be like a coke kind of thing, like a flower that could just burst into flame, but it could be. It's interesting. Or we could always trade it for somebody. Who knows? It could also be something that we do have the healer's kit. That's a good question. Is this? It's not very much narcotics. Is this enough to? Though we are pretty low down on our healing resources, is this something that's maybe a little bit more like an opium, like a morphine? Could this be useful for in medical wise? Can we recharge some of our medical kit with this? We sure can't. That's a 1. So, nope, not helpful for us in that ways. There's either not enough of it, or it's not the right type of substance to be helpful as far as from a healer's aspect. Alright, so that is where we are. So now we can we spent some time in here. Frankly, we spent some time in here and we searched around for stuff. So, does somebody come rock up on us? No, but we did get some more dungeon dressing. So let me see what else we find in this room. Some other additional dungeon dressing. As we're sort of searching through things. 12 and 7. Some sort of hiding spot. Sort of message. I like the hiding spot. Did we look through here and we find... I guess we should make an investigation check to make sure we find it, but we have advantage on that because we have other people trying the room. Oh yeah, 219s, doesn't matter. Absolutely beat that DC of 12. Like, no issues there. So we jump in, we're able to find this, and I think it's a hidden cache. We find a hidden place in here. Now the question is does this have Jurgen's gear in it? I don't think that's likely. Yeah, with any sort of minus, whether it's -3 or -5, that's a no. So it's no. So we find this little hidey hole. Man, what is in here? Is it even something useful? Is it... Let's say this. Is it something valuable? Yes. Okay. Is it something useful to us? Yes. Is it mundane? Probably. Yeah. Alright, something that's in here that might be useful or mundane to us. I'm trying to think of what sort of, like, maybe a little bit of gear. Let's say that. Is it some sort of form of, like, adventuring gear stuff? Yes, okay. So let's pick out a little piece of... This will be like a little free little shopping item. Something that we find in here that I think might be useful for us. Alright, I'm just looking through shopping list. It's not that exciting. We're just trying to see if there's something useful for us. Ladders, locks. Manacles could be technically useful for us, and we don't have those. I don't know why those would be in Scriptorium. Maybe this is a kinky Scriptorium. This is the after hours Scriptorium. When all the prudes go to bed, all the kinky researchers get out and they get their fuzzy handcuffs out. Mirror would be nice. That would make sense. It could just be a store of paper and parchment and ink and stuff, but I don't know why that would be a hidden place, being a hidden thing. Oh, that's a good idea. I was looking at sealing wax. It could be like a signet, like a stamp. Like, is it an official stamp of some type? Okay, yeah. Alright, so there's an official stamp in here. I think it's like a wax seal stamp. So this is supposed to be useful for us. So is it... is it for the foreign faction? I think that's... I don't know, maybe 50-50. We know this is on the edge of the foreign faction's territory. No, okay. So is it from us? Is it from maybe Carjuntan? Carjuntan's probably the closest big city. Yeah, okay, so we've got a seal for the city of Carjuntan. Here's a question: is it has the seal, has like the coat of arms or whatever for the city, the heraldry from the city changed, or is it the same? Is it the same? No. So it's slightly different. So if anybody who was really knowledgeable, if they saw that seal and we used that seal to like forge something, they'd be like, actually, and we didn't say that, and it was supposed to be new, not old. I'd be like, that doesn't seem right. But yeah, I'll put that in here. So we do find a hidden compartment with a let's say like a wax seal stamp with the old Aldrich crest of Carjunton. So we find a hidden compartment with a wax seal stamp with the old heraldic crest of Carjunton. Heraldic, sorry. Crest of Carjunton. So I think it gives us like advantage on maybe a forgery if we want to try to do a forgery document. No, I don't want to do like an unless sort of situation. I'm just gonna leave it there. I just could keep it simple. I could get in like a bunch of edge cases and be like, oh well, but not if you were trying to do a new thing, or not if you were doing it with like a bureaucrat who sees these stamps all the time and is definitely gonna be like, hey, that's an old stamp. That's not correct. So we're not gonna do that, or would be able to pick it out for. So I'm just gonna say they get advantage as opposed to trying to forge a document that didn't have a crest on it at all, or they were trying to do it by hand. So it seems very clear. It's probably like a bird, or like maybe it's got sheaths of like wheat or something on it that's been changed to something else, like barley, or maybe they replaced that with like reeds, or who knows what. We don't know exactly what that crest looks like, but there's been some slight change to it over the years, and this is the old crest. But I think if you showed it to like a lay person about it, they'd be like, oh yeah, that's the Carjunton crest, or that looks very official. If they don't know the Carjunton crest, they'd be like, oh, that's an official seal for sure. So that could be extremely useful for us. So let's see. There's going to be some exits. I mean, I say that, but we don't know that. Let's see. So we need to check if there are any exits. So we kind of took some stairs down to get into this dilapidated temple scriptorium. Again, this place is kind of falling apart. Definitely, it's hard to tell whether it's the orcs that wrecked a lot of this place, or if it's been time that's kind of things broken down. I mean, it doesn't look like the orcs like tore it apart like rock stars in a hotel room kind of thing, but like maybe they just like, hard living. Hard fun times too. Playing hard. So let's see. We need a D6. 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we do have. There's one doorway that way, which we now know is going to lead to, what's our next number? We have up to that, so this is going to be to 10, room 10. Alright, so we have that room. 5. It's actually going to be, I screwed that up. That's actually going to be 11. Because so there's a way down in this room. Because we're playing in 3-dimensional space. So there's a doorway off to the right, and then there does seem to be like a staircase that leads down. Anything else? Any other exits out of this room? 6. And a way up, but that is literally the way we came in, technically, so we are done. Do we want to spend the time looking to see if there's any secret stuff? We already found one secret compartment just in our normal search. But do we want to look for any sort of... I guess let's just ask the Oracle. No, we did an investigation check, and we were successful. So if... though technically we weren't looking for hidden doors. Yeah, do we want to spend... Here's the question. If we spend time to look for secret doors, passages, things like that, we do have to roll for a random encounter. Is that worth it to us? I'm also not sure at this point if we really need to go any further into this dungeon. Is also a big question, because I think we found out the things that we were trying to find out in this session. When we tried to figure out what was going on with this Confederation, we kind of figured that out. We've got documents. We'll find out more once we can break the codes. But we kind of have gotten the things that we needed to do. We've rescued somebody. We can report back. We can take Drin's half-brother back so he can take over Drin's castle, his keep. It may just be time for us to leave. I know that there's us as sort of like a meta player aspect. It's like, well, we're so close to finishing out the dungeon, we should probably just go ahead and get the dungeon fully plummet, get all the treasure, get all that sweet loot before we leave. But realistically, for these characters, they have accomplished their mission here. They have accomplished their mission. They have gotten wild loot already, including 1,000 gold spyglass, which we just picked up. And before that, we picked up like 600 gold's worth of platinum pieces. Like, we just rocked up, and that was one of Gimble's men, who was apparently carrying Gimble's purse that had like 60 platinum in it. So we have a lot of money. We have a lot of money, we have a lot of loot, we have a lot of new information. What we don't have a lot of is health and ability to heal back. So, do we care about delving this any further? Here's a question. Here's a question. And we didn't do a really great job, so this is going to be, I think, just an insight check. I guess technically she would have advantage because there were other people who were also dealing with this. Is the noble that we found in the vivisection dissection room? Was that noble the leader of this thing, or is there another person who's in charge here that we don't know? So I'm going to do an insight check as to whether we think, based off of the documents we found and the communique that we found, and talking with this person, and seeing how other people have acted around them, and give them an insight check to see if we can determine whether that person was the leader or not. That's not a very good check. I did not set a DC though, and it's not really a room DC kind of thing. So her insight is, I always forget, she's got a -1 on wisdom. So that's a whopping 9. Nope, that's a DC 16. We have no clue whether there are more of the foreign faction here. If there's another person who's still in charge, nothing, which is good. It's good to know that the actual in-character player characters and sidekicks don't have any more insight into this than I do as a player. Okay, good. We have no idea. Imagine Leah's father will be the PvEG with the big morale problem. That'd be funny. I mean, hopefully, it sounds like maybe he was being extorted. But if he's been turncoated, who knows? Question more suitable in that matter, guess. Yeah, yeah. So I think we should just leave. I don't think I can really come up with a reason why we would delve further in, and getting out's going to be a slog already. So I think that's it. I'd say we could take a short rest here, but I don't think the short rest is going to help us any. Well, we would get some. We could get arcane recovery. We could do that. We could. If we take the short rest, it gives us the ability for Delg to use the healer's kit again, which is actually useful. This is a pretty quiet place. Nobody's probably coming down here if they knew the orc boys were partying, because nobody wants to deal with that or get drawn up into that. So yeah, I think maybe we just take a short rest, and maybe after we finish our short rest, we can try to get the hell out of here, because I think we've accomplished everything we wanted to do here, and trying to delve any deeper, even though we only have a few rooms left. We only have technically 4 rooms left. No, 5 rooms. We haven't done the hall and commons yet. That's quite a few rooms, actually. 5 out of 13 is still quite a lot, right? Because we've got, no, I guess we don't have that many. We have 7, 10, 11, 12, 13. No, that's 5. Yeah, well, let's get the heck out of here, I think. Yeah, so we're going to attempt to try and do a short rest. We will have to roll for a random encounter. Not with advantage. Okay. So we will complete a short rest. Which means Leah will get her arcane recovery, which allows her to recover 2 spell slots. So she could do a 2nd level slot, or her 2 first level slots. I'm going to give her the 2nd level slot. So that way she can always upcast. So yeah, we're going to do that. So she's going to do her arcane recovery. Everybody's going to get the ability to be healed back, which is super great. Yeah, I think at this point Leah's going to spend a hit die. So that's 1d8 plus 2. Come on, roll high, roll high. Alright, 9. She'll get 9 hit points back. That'll take her up to 20. That's pretty decent for a wizard. So she got her arcane recovery. She did that. I'm gonna move on. Ott has 1 hit die left. I think she's gonna spend it. She has D8 plus 1. Let's hope we roll high again. We rolled high again. Okay, plus 8. Let's take it. Alright, so she... And Ott is fully out of hit dice now. But she will also be back up to 20 hit points, which is useful. And she has the ability to be healed again now. I checked for arrows already, so we're good there. Imbar. Imbar I don't think is going to heal. She's still at 31 because she didn't take any damage in that last one. But she will take that. But she is going to get her 2nd wind back, which is extremely useful. And she only fired 1 arrow in that first combat, so she didn't have to check to see if she lost any arrows. She discharged any of her arrows. So she's good there. Everybody's good there. Delg. Delg doesn't have any hit dice to spend. He's spent all his. But he is going to recharge on the healer's kit. And in the intervening time, I will pick up Jurgen. So I think... Let's finish out our notes, but I think that we have determined at this point that we are done with this dungeon. We just got to fight our way out. So basically, we'll be making wandering monster checks as we backtrack through this dungeon, trying to get the hell out of here. So that is what we're gonna do. We have take a short rest, and I think during that short rest they have this discussion where they're like, you know, I think we could go deeper. I have no idea whether that noble was the mastermind, the ringleader of this whole operation, but we're hurt. We have a bunch of documents to sort of decode. We've got a new person with us, Jurgen. We need to. We're duty bound to sort of try to get her out of here alive. Come back with us. We still have to deliver Dren's brother. More importantly, we have documentation about what's sort of going on. We can pull that back. We can take that back to Reeve Relendart. And hopefully he will give us some next steps. We can check in. We can go drop off these things with at the Liaden estate, and maybe we can get Omer to take a look at this. He's so much better with sort of like cryptograms and codes and things like that than I am. I think we're good here. I think we just need to get the heck out of here. I think we need to stealth and just, you know, sneak our way out of here and move on to what's next. I am also somewhat worried about my father's involvement and what they were trying to do with me in this involvement. So we should maybe track him down and figure out what's going on with that. And so yeah, so they take the short rest. They make the decision to leave the dungeon. Binary code. We're gonna, yeah, so we take our short rest. We're gonna make the decision to, I'm gonna say, retreat from the dungeon. So yeah, that's where we're gonna, I think that's where we're gonna pick up next time. So we will pick up next time, escaping the dungeon. So that's what we're gonna do, I think, next time. So thanks for hanging out with me, guys. This is always a lot of fun. This has been, I felt like we had so many sessions where we didn't feel like we were making a lot of headway. We were really kind of slogging through it, or we kept rolling really badly on our random encounters and having to, trying to hit the, trying to get forward and just running into encounter after encounter, having to backtrack once we find dead ends and do all that. Yeah, it's just been, yeah, as you say, it is time to see the sun. Let's get out from underground and let's get back into the fresh air and get the heck out of here. Let's get back. Let's pay our loot. Let's level up. We're gonna level up for sure once we get back. So we're not gonna. I'm not gonna level up in between this session, but assuming we get back to Relendart in the next session, we'll probably level up there. And then I think I'm going to pull in Jurgen. We're gonna figure out Jurgen's whole deal, who she is, what she does, and try to figure out like why she's going to get attached to this, other than just as paying maybe a debt for potentially saving her life. Maybe she'll be able to provide some sort of backstory as to like what she was doing down here, why she got captured, what her sort of skill set is, what she's doing, that sort of thing. So it'll be interesting stuff to figure out, but I don't know if we'll get to that next time, because we're definitely just going to be kind of running back through the dungeon next time. But we are going to take the time to kind of sit down with Jurgen at some point and figure out, you know, what her deal is and what's kind of going on with her. But yeah, I am so happy that we've reached a point where it's like, now it makes sense to leave the dungeon, that we found a lot of information here in this one room, which we knew it was sort of like the command center, so it makes sense that we found all the information there. So now we're just gonna get out and we're gonna get on our lives. We're gonna try to cross off a few quests, get a level up, figure out what we're doing next, figure out what's going on with her, and how it's related to the Ghast, now that we've tied in the Ghast. So there's something that's going on between her father, the Ghast, this foreign faction, and that may or may not be involved with sort of her draconic research, the primordial research. So we'll have to figure that out. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for hanging out with me, guys. It's always a lot of fun. I hope if you haven't tried solo D&D or solo tabletop RPGs before, that you give it a shot. It's a lot of fun, as you can see, to try to figure out what the story's gonna be. But that's gonna be it for me, and I'll see you guys next time. Alright? Bye.